You'll want to get in under my block. Find the weak point. Nice one! Couldn't have done that better myself. Quick on your feet now. You want to create distance. Yes! Nice one! Yes! Nice one!
Bruh! Got him! Got him! I knocked your bitch out. Smack my bitch up! Oh, look.
There's only one more skill you need to master. Socialization.
Socialization.
Teams arrive. Why not go and have a chat?
Oh, hey. Who's this? This is my tech expert.
Yeah. Hype to expose the bastards in charge, yeah?
Ouch. Okay. Chinese mask. There we go. Oh, okay, let's get in this dog up. What's wrong, CC? Huh? What's the matter with you? Huh? You okay, girl? Oh, I'm sorry. You okay? Move, please. Get up there. Get up. Get up here now. Up. Good boy. That was a piece of the puzzle. Shivas. I'm kidding. Relax. Jesus. Holy moly, man. Ah, fuck me. That was fucking brutal. To empty out that fucker afterwards. Jesus. Fucking hair, dog hair mostly. Good thing it wasn't pubes. That'd be fucking brutal. I just realized dingoes. A dingo ain't my baby. Oof. I talked to him. We talked to her. Not yet, but now we have.
Hello. I still can't believe we're dead sick. Shouldn't we have a mentor or something? One that's not a computer?
Does it look like we have time for that? We learn by doing.
Now that you're all as thick as cyber thieves, Sabine would like to talk to you.
Dun 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 dun. What? Who? Who? Nothing comes up, hon. Do you know his name? Yo, I was in the hospital. They thought I had COVID. I just tested negative. Banks were closed today. I can't transfer it because I don't have my bank card. And I have to see if they will give me a new one tomorrow, even though I have no ID, because I have no wallet still. I would have called you, but my mom was with me the entire time. I couldn't get her to leave. And I didn't have a phone to call you on. My apologies, homie. The minute I can get you something, I will. My word. Thankfully, I don't have COVID. I tested negative and they let me go this morning. Thanks. It's alright, I'm sick too. Hey, yeah, I'm okay. I tried to watch your thing yesterday, and between technical difficulties and me being sick as a fucking dog, it just didn't work out. I got to see a little bit here and there. But I've been sick in bed. Wow. Wow. Fuck you, cunt. Listen, I think it's best if you just contact James for that stuff. I'm okay. I was sick in the hospital the last 2 days, so couple of days with no phone and no way to contact anybody. On top of that, I don't appreciate how you got me to get you something from somebody else. You know what? No, she's whack. Hmm? Not really, I'm sick as fuck.
Well done, team. It's good to see the safe house filling up again. The only way we're going to keep London from falling into total oppression is by rebuilding the resistance. We need to recruit, train, build back our arsenal. The people are itching to rise up and take their city back. We just need to show them that DedSec are fighting along with them.
That's very noble. But I joined DedSec to make some concrete changes.
I won't rest until I've given every Albion thug a slap. They've turned our home into a war zone.
And meanwhile, the Clan Kelly criminals hide in the shadows, and Albion does nothing about it.
Fair, but remember that this zero-day hacker group is still out there. They took out DedSec once, and it's a good bet they'll try again. I believe they were responsible for the bombings and framed DedSec. With your help, I plan to get to the bottom of this mystery.
I'd say that's a full docket. Enough talk. Let's unfuck London.
First order of business. The Signals Intelligence Response Service, or SIRS, or the Earl Grey Gestapo, have developed a surveillance technology called AR Reconstruction. It's the bleeding edge of privacy rights violation, and thus it could be very useful in our attempts to find Zero Day.
Why don't I have a gun?
We have some damage control to do if we want to change the perception that we're a bunch of violent thugs. I'll let you be the judge of how best to handle yourself, but remember, you represent DedSec now.
I've located an interesting potential recruit for you. They claim to have recently escaped from, and I'm paraphrasing here, an evil lab. I can't verify that, of course, but their abilities are real enough.
That's quite the CV. We should recruit her.
I had the same thought. Wherever they came from, they'll be a valuable asset to the Resistance. I'll set up a meeting for you. I've marked a potential recruit for you, and by recruit I mean a masked madman who hacked our optic channel and started telling everyone he was in charge.
Well, I mean, I do have seniority.
Who the hell is this?
You see what I'm dealing with here? His credentials check out. Just give him something to do to get him off my arse, would you? All right, I'm flagging a new recruit for you, but you have to promise not to make a mess in your pants when you hear who it is.
Go on.
It seems none other than Aidan Pierce has made his way to London, and apparently he's a friend of Connie's. Is there anyone she doesn't know?
Let's bring him into the fold before he loses a limb.
Unbelievable. What do you need? Can I help you? Stop taking a piss.
You're dumber than a sack of hammers, aren't you?
Well, I tried. I'm still counting that as a good deal.
Are you serious? Like, seriously serious? Fucking hell.
Fucking
Yo,
city.
what's your problem?
Move back home.
As if life wasn't fucking hard enough.
Well, quite a statement.
He's joking? Can you believe this shit? What the fuck is going on? Shit.
Take a step back and look at what you're doing. Take a breath. I promise it'll help.
Fuck's sake.
You need to calm down.
Because I'll murk you.
You'll sing a different tune once I knock your fucking teeth out. Just make sure your hands stay in, or I'm calling the police.
Are you serious? Like, seriously serious? Fucking hell.
I don't believe
Hey,
it.
don't
Give
you
me
walk away
a
from me.
break.
This will not end.
Can you believe this shit?
What's the story with any of this?
Why does this always bloody happen?
He's joking? As if life wasn't fucking hard enough. What the fuck is going on? Shit.
What do you need? Can I help you? Take a step back and look at what you're doing.
Unbelievable.
Take a breath. I promise it will help. Thick as two short planks, aren't you? Fuck off. Good luck with the rest of your life, then. Free country, yeah. Look where that's got us.
What? The harvester? That looks boss. The horseman. That's pretty boss. Boosters. Descendants. Legacy. Styles. Golden King. Space Mercenary. Nice. I'll do that. Rocket vehicle paint and aviation bundle. I wish.
Excellent. The more of us we are, the stronger we are. Welcome to DedSec.
Yes, I'm so ready to help out the cause.
Good to hear.
Wish I brought my camera.
Oh, that's what I needed. I needed a wardrobe.
Any maggot? Wax waffle.
Right out front, too. What's the matter with you, bro?
I'd like to think anyone can change, even Albion guards. Think we could recruit one of them?
Definitely not by this one. Because we're going to do this to him. Backwards. Forwards. That was an accident. Thank you, bro.
Shut up! What do you want? Money?
All units, I repeat, all units. We have reports of a hostile in your area.
Control, we are ready to engage.
They passed through the checkpoint. Over.
Just wait until the antibiotics are on their course and then try a different one. In my opinion, with antibiotics, they take a while for them to work, sometimes like a week. I had plenty of infections from using. Sorry about the typos. Voice text is wonky this morning. LOL, I said wonky. And it put Milwaukee. Ay, ve. Mucha gusta.
We are in pursuit, I say again, in pursuit.
Ah! Nice. Woo! Nice.
Shit! Watch it! Is now fleeing on foot. Stand by.
Control, we have a visual on the suspect. There's our suspect. Any sign of the target? Anyone? I'm terminating the search. Back. Over.
Auto drive now enabled.
Let's go. Showing up. Let it do its thing now.
Auto drive now disabled.
Putting an end to the chase now.
Auto drive now enabled.
Going in for a tactical wrap.
Boy. Why are you guys chasing me?
Auto drive now disabled. Auto drive now enabled. Auto drive now enabled.
Ah!
Auto drive now disabled. Auto drive now enabled.
Do your thing. I don't know. I'm just letting you know how things have worked for me in the past. By all means, do what you gotta do, though. Probably one of the only people who I'd share this with.
Auto drive now disabled.
Oh my god, what is this thing?
One of my daily readings. Even though booze isn't my thing. Though booze isn't my thing. Thing.
Auto drive.
I'll go steal.
You'll fit right in. The more people willing to fight the system, the better.
Bang in. Hype to expose the bastards in charge, yeah?
Brilliant.
Don't even think about it. Not even.
There we go. Sirs, officer, eh?
Is that supposed to be funny?
What the? Must be pissed. You're mental, mate.
We're being contacted by our potential recruit. Patching them through now.
If I can help DedSec at all, just say the word.
You want in? Go on. Take the red pill. Join DedSec.
Yeah, alright. Fuck it.
I'm here.
In theory, the AR reconstruction should allow me to use various sources of surveillance data to rebuild past events. Access a data relay, and I can scrape all the metadata for this area.
Ought to be ashamed.
You are on mute. Yes. Non-lethal combat. Discover various non-lethal combat options at your disposal. How to get rich. Oh. Nice! I didn't know I could do that. Sick! That's 2 down, 1 to go. Nice. Let's get some tech points.
That's it. Now, let's take this autographic factory for a test drive.
Hey, Wagwan.
CTOS AR. Data reconstruction in progress.
Cool. Wouldn't mind the home version, know what I mean? For research purposes.
You're right. We definitely need this extremely cool thing I want for investigating Zero Day. Shit!
Jordan. Still user. Set up. Switching to Jordan. Okie dokie there. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to figure out what the fuck is going on here with this tablet. I tried to create a new user profile for myself, but it is not working. Swipe to open. Come on, for fuck's sakes, man. Ay, ay. That should have opened it. There we go. Start. Start. Next. I agree to the Alexa, what time is it?
It's 11:23 a.m.
Oh, shit, we gotta
I
hustle.
hope you have a good morning.
Alexa, what's the news today?
Hey, Jordan, here's your news.
Thank you.
From CBC.
From CBC News, The World This Hour, I'm Kate Rutherford. In Rome, Catholics celebrated their first Sunday Mass since the passing of Pope Emeritus Benedict. While the German-born pontiff was a polarizing figure in the church, many are still flocking to the Vatican to pay their respects. Katie Nicholson reports.
Sean Army was in Florence with his wife when he heard Pope Benedict had died. Indianapolis Catholic English teacher stood hours today in line so he could say a prayer for Benedict in St. Peter's Basilica. Benedict, sometimes dubbed God's Rottweiler for his adherence to tradition and his efforts to silence those who sought to reform the church, had many critics. Army is not among them. Starting tomorrow, thousands who share Army's grief will have a chance to say goodbye to the former pontiff, whose funeral, a smaller papal funerals, is scheduled for Thursday. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Vatican City.
Ukrainians welcomed the new year amidst intense Russian shelling. Numerous blasts were heard in Kyiv and in other parts of the country soon after midnight. This follows yesterday's wave of Russian-led missile attacks on several Ukrainian cities. Sarah Lorniuk has the latest.
The sites hit were not limited to electricity infrastructure and military targets. Numerous residential areas were hit, as well as a central hotel in Kyiv. The attacks that began midday yesterday continued into the new year. Ukraine's Air Force Command reported that they had shot down 45 Iranian-made Shahed drones overnight. Andrei Nivotov, the head of Kyiv's police, posted an image to Telegram showing one of these drones that had been downed, and on it, in Russian, it said, "Happy New Year." So it's just quite a different celebration than one would have hoped for.
Sarah Lorniuk reporting from London. At least 9 people, including a 10-year-old boy, were killed during New Year's celebrations in the capital city of Uganda. They suffocated as crowds rushing to see a New Year's firework display got stuck in a narrow corridor in a shopping mall in Kampala. The shopping mall is a popular venue for music concerts and New Year's celebrations. Pharmacies in Ontario will now be able to treat and prescribe medication for 13 common ailments. The move by the Ontario government is part of an effort to reduce medical wait times. Pharmacists can provide treatment for conditions including pink eye, hives, and urinary tract infections. Other provinces, such as Alberta, have allowed pharmacists to prescribe medication since 2007. Team Canada is celebrating after defeating Sweden 5-1 at the 2023 World Juniors in Halifax. Canada took the lead early on and remained on top. In the game, Connor Bedard made history, tying Eric Lindros for Canadians' Canada's all-time points record. The win means Canada finishes second in its group and will now face Slovakia in Monday's quarterfinals. That is your World This Hour. For CBC News, I'm Kate Rutherford.
For many immigrants that come to Canada, it can be difficult to get used to a place where no one speaks your language or understands your culture. And then there's the pressure to assimilate, to learn about hockey, and coming to terms with freezing cold prairie winters. That's the premise behind the play Prairie Nurse, a culture-clashing comedy about nurses from the Philippines that come to Canada in the 1960s to work at a hospital in rural Saskatchewan.
Marion, do you think they'll look like the hula dancers in Blue Hawaii?
Mercy,
read my messages.
They're from the Philippines, not Hawaii. Why are you just sitting around? Why aren't you helping your mom?
The patients are all fed, the laundry's all folded. Anyway, she put me in the kitchen because she's trying to perfect the fried rice recipe that Mrs. Chan gave her when we were over in Tisdale. Mrs. Chan,
Tisdale?
The girls really like it. I don't know about that.
Okay, you know what? Fuck the settings.
Too expensive for something she wasn't going to use again. So she's using Lee and Perrins and...
This blizzard is one for the ages. Certainly it is the blizzard of the century. Deadly storm described by officials as a once-in-a-century weather event has severed road and rail links around Vancouver.
They may be described as storms of the century, once-in-a-lifetime weather events, but they're happening with alarming frequency. And the Weather Network's Chris St. Clair reminds us that with climate change, this is only the beginning. What Canada needs to do to prepare, that's coming up in half an hour. And then...
People have worn shoes, made shoes, consumed shoes since time immemorial.
Consume them.
Almost never is just how can we solve a problem which is comfort and protection.
Shoes keep our feet dry and prevent stones from poking our toes. But Data Shoe Museum Director Elizabeth Selak says there's a lot more to it, and that you can tell a lot about a person and our culture from the shoes we wear. A look at our obsession with footwear. That's in an hour. But we start with the year in politics. I'm Paul Hunter, and this is The Current.
The Current.
The year 2022 was not a quiet one in Canada. Convoy protests shut down Ottawa until emergency powers were used to end them, a papal apology to residential school survivors, soaring inflation, a countrywide hospital crisis, and Alberta's push for sovereignty.
He's backed himself into a corner. He's trying to show off and use all his powers to crush something that he could have solved 2 weeks ago.
The federal government is giving itself more powers against the protests to restrict movement and prohibit assemblies.
We've come to a point in life where they're after us for everything we got anyways. I believe that most of the guys here see this as the final straw.
When there's a national emergency and serious threats of violence to Canadians, and you have a tool that you should use, how would I explain it to the family of a police officer who was killed, or a grandmother who got run over trying to stop a truck, or a protester who was killed? If I hadn't used the tools, getting this situation under control and protecting the safety of all Canadians is a priority.
In order to stay within our budget now, we eat a lot less meat, and I definitely plan my menus around what's on sale.
A major pediatric hospital in Ottawa has called in the Red Cross to help them deal with a surge in respiratory illnesses.
As a family doctor, it's really not surprising. We knew that this was going to happen. We're seeing this across Canada. It's incumbent upon all leaders at all levels of government to do what they can to help children.
It's not like Ottawa is a national government. The way our country works is that we are a federation of sovereign, independent jurisdictions.
Albertans, Canadians, treaties people should consider the implication of an act that envisions the rejection of shared regulations and legal obligations. This is a warning to Canadians. If you care about these lands, if you care about your country, you should care about this bill.
Just some of the things confronting Canadians over the past year. To help make sense of the year that was and to look ahead to 2023, I'm joined by three smart and wonderful people. Rosemary Barton is CBC News Chief Political Correspondent. Carrie Tate is a reporter for the Globe and Mail in Calgary. And Emily Nicolas is a columnist with Le Devoir and the Montreal Gazette and host of Canada Land's French language podcast, Détour. Good morning to all three of you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Rosemary. I take it you're at, an airport waiting for lost luggage? Is that where we've reached you?
Does that sound familiar to anyone, Paul?
Well, welcome to 2022 Christmas time. So you get the prize to open us up then. What would you say is one of the biggest national stories over the past year?
First of all, that montage was excellent because it reminded me of all the things that we've covered over the past year, and it's been a busy one. I actually think it is the convoy that happened, January, February of last year, but it's not the convoy itself. It's more what the convoy represented and then how it was or was not dealt with subsequently. I think what that convoy represented was a frustration and an anger with the Trudeau government very directly, and then a real sense that some people had been forgotten during the pandemic. I think that the Emergencies Act used for the first time ever, and the government has done a fairly good job justifying that it was needed, was also a remarkable moment in Canada's history. But I think that the convoy also gave rise to conservative success in some ways. Pierre Poilievre is now the leader of the Conservative Party. He tapped into a lot of what some of those people were trying to express. Danielle Smith, who was also there in your montage, the Premier of Alberta, also used that and has been tapping into that. And that has led to her success, which will be tested, obviously, next year in the election. But that, to me, was a remarkable moment because it sort of showed that the country is probably not as united as some of us think, and that there are some really raw wounds out there.
And it's so true, and in Washington, I'll have people still come up to me when they learn that I'm from Canada and say, "What was going on with the truckers, and what's going on in the country?" Emily, what about you? Well, what Canadian stories stand out as the most consequential from the past year?
I think it's not necessarily one story. It's an array of them that, for me, lead in one direction. There's just more towards the end of the year, there was that massive news of a lot of people waiting for permanent residency to get their immigration status sorted, who can't get a proper person to actually go through their files, and that story came after the story of the mass. With the passports, there's also obviously the healthcare system across Canada's healthcare systems, plural, I should say, that have also been under a lot of pressure, and we've kind of normalized in some parts of the country having the Red Cross there or having some emergency measures in there because the healthcare system is not available for all of us. There's been some strikes as well in litigation, so it feels in a way where that essentially a lot of elements that are the basic functions of the state are starting to crumble, and that Canadians are having a changing relationship with the public sector and with state and institution in general. And I think that comes at a point where, a little bit like what Rosemary was saying with the convoy, which was also a pressure on essentially democracy and the limits of those institutions. I feel like for me, the story of 2022 is that we thought that, the pandemic would sort of pass and that we would go back to normal, but we've actually seen that institutions and the state have been really impacted by what happened in the last 2 years, and we're not able to gain that capacity back, and it's having a huge influence on people and their ability to get services. And in the midst of an economic crisis and inflation, it means that a lot of people are not getting the basic services that they actually need as well.
And Carrie, I'm guessing you knew that I was going to come to you next. What do you want to add to the list?
I actually rewind a little bit further, and my pick is COVID. I know it feels like COVID was 15 years ago, and really has nothing to do with this year, but without COVID, there is no convoy. That was the impetus for it. Without COVID, Jason Kenney is still the premier. Danielle Smith is not in power, and no one has ever heard of the Sovereignty Act, let alone having to figure out how Ottawa should deal with it. Have Onion Lake in Alberta suing the provincial government. None of that happens without COVID. So there's both the political problem, and then it's still killed 18,000 Canadians in 2022, which is more than the other years of the pandemic. So to me, it's not the most obvious one, and it feels 15 years ago, but I think COVID was still the story of the year.
It's funny, they all, the three of you put out a number of, micro stories, I guess, that together make the kind of collective macro. I wonder, is there and some of you were hinting at this, Emily, is there a connective thread, a central theme that connects all of this, do you think?
Yes. We were talking about the convoy, we were talking about collapse of the state in a way, and we're talking about the pandemic. So yes, I think we're going through a time of crisis, essentially, and a time of crises is what's happening in 2022, and that's something that's, I think, hard for people to grasp, and I think there's been a lot of denial in a way, because 2020 and 2021 were so harsh on people that people are just kind of over it. And so now, for example, we're still having the same situation in hospital, and we had our capital invaded. But I think part of our brains is trying to pretend that it's all fine. Although, I mean, even the food banks are lacking, food to service the Canadians that are going hungry. But we desperately want to feel like the crisis is over and that things are going to go back to normal. And I feel like there's a part of us that is having a hard time actually wrapping our head around everything that's been going on this year.
Rosemary, you sat down with the Prime Minister for a year-end interview and discussed the crisis facing Canada's hospitals and calls from the premiers for an increase in federal health care funding. Let's have a listen.
If I were to send people all the money they need in the provinces, there is no guarantees that those folks would be waiting less time in the hospitals. According to the head of the Canadian Medical Association, there is no point putting more money into a broken system. And quite frankly, one of the only levers I have is saying, I'm not giving you this money with no conditions. I will fully participate in the funding of it as long as those real improvements are made.
Rosie, what do you think? Will we see some kind of agreement on healthcare transfers in the new year?
Well, I think we have to see something. To put it bluntly, we've all said it, a crisis point in the healthcare system. The fallout from the pandemic, as Carrie said, the way hospitals are now exposed and people are trying to flu and RSV and everything that we've seen through the fall, it has exposed the vulnerabilities in the healthcare system. The Prime Minister is right.